very, very shortly. I'm just waiting for a few more participants to join in. So do hang on tight. We will begin very shortly, maybe in a minute or two. So meanwhile, if you're ready to start, I'd like you to type in the chat Happy Friday because it's already the weekend, okay? So if you're just joining the session, welcome to today's webinar. Feel free to do a quick hello in the chat while waiting for a few more of our peers to join in. And if you're ready to start, type in the chat Happy Friday. Yes. Happy Friday. I know a lot of us are already looking forward to the long weekend because it's obviously the Chinese New Year. So, for those of you celebrating the Lunar New Year upcoming, Ma Shang Fa Chai, right? So, it's the year of the horse. Yeah, coming in very steady and strong. I hope you're already set and ready for those of you who are celebrating the Lunar New Year weekend or the beginning of the upcoming week. Okay, so meanwhile, let me just check how many we have now in our room. I believe we can already start this session. So, in today's session on how to analyze data smarter with AI, you will be learning how to spot hidden trends in your data set using an AI tool. And the main AI tool that we will be using is actually Gemini. Okay, so if some of you already know how to use Gemini, great. I hope you can still pick up a few things. If this is the first time that you're using Gemini as a tool for data analysis, that's fine. It's very beginner friendly. And we do have a prompt list of template is a template of prompts that will be provided. You should be able to access your data set as well. So I'll be giving you a demonstration and you can follow through. It's very hands-on and practical today. Therefore, this session will be very interactive as promised. Okay, so again, welcome. If you're just joining, welcome to our webinar today on how to analyze data smarter with AI. My name is Christine. I'm your trainer throughout the whole session. I'm an ACLP certified trainer, registered member of Singapore's National Adult Education Registry. So before I was in the education and training industry in the last 4 or 5 years, I was working in the corporate world for almost a decade. That is my biggest group so far with High Spark. As you can see, it's a room full of folks, right? This is for a physical setting, but sometimes our sessions can go really huge on virtual. So today, I hope I will get to see some of you from my previous past trainings as well. I hope you're back here learning on some of the tips and techniques. So here in High Spark, the agency that I'm from, we help you improve your communications, how to be better data storytellers. So not just from our agency side where they help clients on how to pitch better, create very effective presentations, but also through our training arm where I'm currently from. Today, we will be looking at a framework that will help to guide you on your data presentations. And I'd like to begin this session with this particular question. If I were to hand you a very clean data set right now, how long do you think it would take you to be very confident to walk into your boss's office and say, hey, these are the insights and this is what we will do next? So just type in the chat for me. I'm very curious. How long do you think before you can come up with an insight that you're confident enough to share with your boss? Okay, so let's pretend we have a clean data set. There's one here on the screen. How long before you would it would take you in order for you to be confident to narrate to your boss? Okay, just type in the chat. How long would that take? Is that a day, a two? Is that a few hours? Okay, Dorothy says a few hours. Thank you. How about the rest? Do we take longer than a few hours? Uzaria, 2 days. That's absolutely fine, okay? Seb, 3 days with ready slides. Fantastic. So for most people, actually, the answer is 1 or 2 days. Sometimes it can even take longer. I've come across a participant who told me, Christine, sometimes it takes me a week, especially if there's back and forth. So that means I will have to forward it to my colleagues and ask them, is this correct? Can you verify? Is this something that we can present to our boss? And then that back and forth, afterwards, there's a lot of tweaking that happens. And therefore, it takes 1 week. Okay, but the case here is that it's not because we do not know how to work with, we don't work with data, okay? It's not because we don't work with data, but rather it's because every one of us works with data. A lot of us now do dabble with data day to day, could be doing some research for our upcoming presentation, no matter our role, right? Regardless of our role. But very few of us are actually taught to analyze it very clearly. In fact, when we do an analysis, some of us think, oh, I just need to pull out the data table and then I'll just figure it out on the go. And sometimes there's no structured way for us to do it. So that's exactly what we will tackle today. I'm going to be giving you a framework that will help you to structure how you analyze your data, how you approach data. Okay, this is what we're going to be doing for the whole session. And the framework that I'm going to be showing you, step-by-step framework that you can use and apply in your day-to-day work, is the DIAA framework, the DIA framework, alongside with your AI tool, Gemini. Okay, so in this session, I'm going to show you a simple step-by-step framework that uses AI to completely change how you analyze data without technical skills. So even without technical skills, this framework is sure to help you. So how does this work? Okay, it begins with the data readiness. Are you ready with your data set? Or are you the type, hey, I've received the survey findings from our recent employee survey that has happened end of the year? Do you just look through the Excel file and then start analyzing it? Or are you the type who is a little bit on the nitty-gritty side and you will clean up your data? Are there any missing values? Any outliers? Can we review the raw data first? Okay, so the first step here is to prepare your data set before you actually do any form of interpretation. So that is the first step, data readiness, followed by extracting the insights. What are the key insights that you may want to present to your stakeholders? In this instance, maybe you want to present to senior stakeholders or the leaders in your company. All of these insights always have some sort of attribution to it. Why did it happen or how did it even happen? For example, sales went up, our revenue went up in the last quarter. Why or how did that happen? So you need to map some sort of assumptions, underlying assumptions to back it up. What were the evidence to show that it did happen or it did occur? And lastly, the so what, the action plan. Now you're sharing these insights with your stakeholder. What is the action that you want them to take up? Okay. So with this framework, it is difficult for you to visualize without a demonstration. And before I begin with the demonstration, please follow along. There is a prompts template that is provided to you. If you miss that out, you can also make sure to stay till the very end. We'll share it again with you. And throughout different sections of my demonstration, I'll be pasting the prompts in the chat as well, just in case you've missed it. So let me know that you have already accessed your prompts template. You slowly can load your prompts template alongside with your data set. So your data set probably looks like this. If you're unable to access this file, let us know in the chat. Okay, just let us know if you're unable to access these files. Okay, so now that I've cleared all of those admin things, let me do a very quick demonstration for you. And this time, I'm going to be working with a different data set, and the company is actually working on furniture. It's from a furniture company. So how does the DIAA framework look like? How does it work? Let's pretend that I have this data set on hand and it's cleaned up, it's clear, it's ready for me to actually present to my stakeholders. And apparently, this furniture company, what they have been doing from the research team is they've been copy pasting this table over onto a PowerPoint presentation to share to their boss, to the leadership team. And the leadership team was like, it takes us a while for us to look at a raw table such as this before we can actually get the insights. So what's a better way of you presenting it? Okay, so by using the DIAA framework, they are able to present insights very clearly. And how would that look like? Okay, let's take a look at this raw data table that you have on the screen. And if I do this and I do a quick spotlight on the columns, can you type in the chat what insights can you make out of from this data set? Okay, let me repeat the question. Can you type in the chat for me what insights can you make out from this data set? Okay, so let me give you a minute or two to just look at the screen and tell me what insights can you make out of from these rows and rows of information. I've did a bit of spotlight here for you to drill down and narrow down some of these insights. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that and just type in the chat. Okay, so Jocelyn. Hi, Jocelyn. Okay, here I've seen the response. One of them is tables have the highest percentage out of all the other products. Fantastic. Yep. So Seb also says consider higher marketing promotion or budget for tables as there seems to be a growth trend. Fantastic. So I've seen here Seb went with an actionable insight and Jocelyn on an insightful insight, right? So if there is an insight, you know what is happening, you know what has occurred, and then Seb on a different, on another level where you have taken an approach on a recommended strategy. And that really works well, especially for senior stakeholders. They would tend to prefer for you to give them a strategic recommendation that will have an impact on the business. Okay, Lynette, what's net retail dollars as percentage last year? Okay, so net retail dollars of the percentage as per last year. Dorothy, tables have the high sales growth rate compared to last year. Fantastic. Yeah. So let's say here that the work desk sales went up really significantly, contributing to about 50% of the whole net retail dollars. What can we do with this particular insight, right? So firstly, your insight extraction, you can tell leadership that the table sales have exploded by 47% in March of 2020 as compared to last year. And it's clearly highlighted here on this particular slide. We can even drill down further and say that under the category of tables, work desk was actually the one that has contributed a lot to this particular revenue. And having said that, what is the underlying assumption? Why did we have an increase in sales of the table during that particular period? So this is the assumption mapping. This is likely due to enforcement of work from home policy due to COVID-19 policies, right? So during the pandemic. So that means a lot of us were trying to create our own work from home setup in this particular period, buying tables perhaps. And on this particular note, I would also take a similar stance such as Seb, where she would do an action planning. So you recommend a particular step for your senior stakeholder to adopt. Either you double down on marketing efforts, you can also consider different business units that might be impacted, like procurement, right? So you can tell procurement team, hey, can we source out for other vendors? Different vendors that can help us to meet this particular supply. So what happens if, there's a logistic disruption, we need more partners who can help us to provide these tables. Or maybe the business team would say, we can also do more promotions. Can we do a bundle where people buy the table and it comes along with the chair as well, so that the sales for the chair will also go up. Okay, so that is the example that I have for you on how the DIAA framework actually looks like. Together with Gemini, we will help to improve this process. So why do you use AI tools for data analysis? So three things why you may want to use the AI tool for your data analysis. Number one, Okay, number one is to spot trends and correlations. There could be some hidden trends in your variables that our naked eye might not be able to pick up, but we have the tool to help you pick it up. So it can help you to spot some trends and also if there's any correlations between the variables. Number two, it can help you to check for potential biases. So if there is looking variables or potential biases that we might have, right, as humans, how do you want to confidently present your insights to your bosses? Could be because your data is accurate. It is free of fallacies, data fallacies. So your AI tool can help you to check for possible biases. And lastly, it can help you to recommend solutions and next steps, help you to brainstorm on what are the possible solutions to tackle it, depending on a different point of view. You can even prompt it saying by, I'm an HR management, blah, 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 or I'm a consultant and I need to provide this particular solution to this team and so forth. So you can get a different perspective and brainstorm on some of these solutions. Now, I have a disclaimer before you actually continue on with using the AI tool. If you're dabbling with confidential information, data that has a lot of private information within your company, ideally the AI tools that you will be using is approved internally. So if there's an infrastructure that IT has built for you, for example, if you're on a Microsoft ecosystem, you would have Copilot and maybe Power BI. These tools will only pull out data from your internal database, and it is easier for you to analyze it with these tools, and it will not share it out into the world about publicly about these numbers, whereas your free AI tools out there is typically open source, and some people, or there's a risk that it might get leaked, or your data is being misused. So again, please be mindful about using AI tools with your confidential data. Please try not to upload those on your AI tools unless it is inbuilt within your company. In fact, Gemini also could be an AI tool that is linked to your company. What do I mean by that? So, for instance, for HighSpark, we use our Gmail. Our server actually sits with Google. And what I realized is that every time we ran our results on Gemini, I'm not able to share my thread with anybody else. So we've tested this in the past week or so where I tried to run the data set and I've been trying my best to actually share my thread with the colleagues, like these are my results, but I couldn't. And I realized that's because there is an administrator access to it. However, if you're using your personal Gmail account, no issues, you can share your thread with your peers. Okay, so we're going to be going through now DIAA framework now with Gemini and with the data set, this particular data set for this demonstration. And I'll begin with the very first step on data readiness. Okay, data readiness. So let's begin with before we even analyze any data set, we need to ensure that the data is complete, it's clean, it's reliable before any analysis or interpretation begins. Let's turn to Gemini to do the pre-work by asking it to explain or describe what's in our data set quickly and effectively. Again, this is the time for you. If you're unable to access the file, let us know in the chat. Otherwise, you can load it in a new window or you can just ensure that your downloads folder is loaded so that you can drag and drop the file within Gemini. Okay, so if you are unable to access that, let me see. I've also dropped it in the chat. It should be loading now. That is your case study data set that you're going to be using for the demonstration. Okay. And for the rest of us here, you can start to load up your Gemini. I want you to open up a new window and load up Gemini. Okay. So please load up Gemini. Again, if you need the link to Gemini, this is the link for you. Okay, so the basic use of Gemini does not really require you a registration if this is the first time that you're using it, but you may need to use a Google account. And on my end, I'm using a personal Gmail account. And why is that necessary for you? Because if you are logged in with a Google account, it will help you. It is necessary because it will have to save your chat history, or if you're using the mobile app, you will need to be logged in. And if you want to use any of these advanced features like generating content or images, you definitely need to be logged in with a Google account. Now, workspace users may need admin to enable different levels of success. So this is for those of you who have an IT infrastructure at the back end who sets it up for you. Okay, so if your data set and your window on Gemini is ready and prepared, just give me a thumbs up reaction so I know that you are ready. Okay, if you are ready, just give me the thumbs up. Thank you, Farid. Okay, thanks, Lena. Thanks, Rosalie. Thanks, Dorothy. Okay. So the first step that we're going to be doing here is to, again, prepare our data. And the first prompt that I have for you is this particular prompt. So let me just type it in the chat. For those of you who have loaded your Gemini window, I want you to go ahead and attach it along with this particular prompt. So the prompt is in the chat in case you are unable to see it clearly on my screen. Okay, list all the columns in the attached spreadsheet. And what does this prompt do is that it demonstrates whether your AI tool is able to understand the data set. You're testing it whether does it even understand what my data set is about. And you will notice based on the response here, you will notice that he has highlighted a couple of things that it does understand. And we're going to build on this particular prompt with the next one. Okay, and the next one is very important for you. This is the section where it ensures that it really understands the format and the information within the columns and the rows that sits within your data set. Okay, and this particular prompt, just type in the chat. Yep. So just follow along and paste this particular prompt and build on to your results. So once you see your results from the first prompt, just type this in, paste it over, and generate the new set of results. You will have this particular type of results. It might look different on yours, obviously, but this is how it looks like on my end. Christine, question. The number here, can we change it to a different number? The answer is yes. You can even say, can you just take three more random samples of the data? Can you take 10 more samples of these 10 more of these random samples of the data? Absolutely. The most important thing here is that the AI tool is able to flash out and show to you that it understands the information, even the format of your variables. Is it in months? Is it in years? Is it time? Is it showing a duration? How does it look like? Okay. And the next thing that we're going to do, step three, is this third prompt that I have when it comes to preparing your data. This is the part where you want to increase your confidence presenting the insights to your bosses, your stakeholders, or your partners, etc. And you can only do that if your data is accurate. So we're going to be running a data quality check to look out for any missing values, any outliers, any suspicious numbers that might look like. So let me just paste again this prompt. Okay, hang on. Let me go back to that here. Okay, this is the prompt. Okay, this is prompt number 3. Okay, so go ahead and paste this over to your Gemini window and continue building on the conversation with Gemini. And some of you, you will face a particular hit block because there is a chance that Gemini might end up asking you back questions or telling you, you know, Christine, your data is not clean. And if you want, I can clean it up for you. You can rely on an AI tool to help you clean up for your data, but there are some information that they cannot do for you or fill up for you. And in that instance, what happens is you can go ahead and use your current data set, but when you're presenting the information to your stakeholders, you need to put a disclaimer that says, in order to answer some particular questions, we may need to find out more of information. We may need to do more research on that. Or if you can clean up your data, okay, if you're able to clean up your data, you're able to find the missing values, you can update your current data set with complete values and re-upload the file within the same thread so that it will run again a data quality check for you. Okay, so there are multiple ways that you can tackle this particular section if it tells you its recommended next steps. So I hope you've been following until this portion. If you are still with me, if you're still with me, can you find your reaction button? Give me a heart shape, okay? Give me a heart shape if you can find your reaction button, if you're still following me up till this point. Okay. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Jay. Okay. So now that we're done preparing our data set, what is the next step for us to do? Okay. The next thing that we're going to be doing is to extract the insights. And the prompt that you're going to be using, I have two prompts for you. The first prompt is this particular one on my screen. Again, this number here, you can change the number to something else. Could be lesser, could be more than that. Just type it in the chat. Tell me 10 interesting questions we could answer with this data set. Tell me 10 possible questions we could answer with this data set. Tell me 10 things that I could answer with this data set and explain why each would be valuable. Now, this helps you to ensure that the insights that you're sharing from your data set can be found from your data set. Okay, so it will help you to look for insights within your data set. And sometimes the insights that are listed to you may not exactly be the one that you want to share with your stakeholders. So before you share it in a presentation, I want you to do the next prompt. Okay, so let's load first your results. Again, type in tell me 10, tell me 5 possible questions we could answer with this data set and hit enter and generate your results. Your results would look something like this. Some of you might get results in the form of a table. I've seen Gemini actually generate a table of responses. That is also another alternative. And the next thing that we're going to do is to verify that your insights are indeed from these data sets. So how will we do that? We're going to ask Gemini to, okay, this is the prompt that I have for you. For questions number 1 to 3, for questions 5 to 6, you can just pick one of the questions as well. For this particular question, can you tell me which column, which row do we need to use, or where is the information within the data set? And this will help you to verify that your insights are indeed from the data set. Okay, so these are the two prompts that I have for insights extraction. So I hope you're still following through. I'm going to be moving on to assumption mapping. We're going to try to eliminate any of the biases, any underlying assumptions that we might have, and that begins with this particular prompt. So continue on with your thread on Gemini, still on the same data set. Okay, so I hope we are clear. For those of you who have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be continuing in this particular step. Okay, let me just copy paste this in the chat. So step 6 is this. You're gonna paste this particular prompt on Gemini, and the prompt is, what questions do you think this particular person, this particular role, okay, maybe for instance, what questions do you think a senior manager in a marketing team would want to know but we cannot answer? So you can be very specific about the role of the person that you are presenting to, who is that stakeholder. So you can include it within your prompt. And what it does, it is that it helps you to overcome any data fallacies or any of the lurking variables that you might have. Okay, it will help you to overcome any of the data fallacies or lurking variables that you might have. And on my end, actually, when the Gemini tool has flashed out the results, it was pretty long. Okay, it actually listed out all of the underlying assumptions probably for so many questions, which is a great thing. So I already know that these are some of the questions that they might potentially ask me, thinking that it is in my data set, but it's actually not. It's missing from my data set. And the next thing that we're going to do is, based on the earlier insights that we have gathered, example, the 10 answers or the 10 things that I can present to my stakeholder, I wanted to list the assumptions explaining why these patterns may be occurring and indicate that additional data would help to validate or actually challenge each of them. Okay, so let me copy paste this prompt in case you need it. This is very helpful because it verifies the why it happened or how it happened. And oftentimes in our presentations, when we present data to our stakeholders, they tend to ask, "Oh, okay, that's great, fantastic. So why was there an increase in this particular quarter, or why was a decrease? I've observed that we were not doing so well in the last year. Why is that so?" Are you able to answer these questions with your current data set? If yes, then you can present it. So how would you find that? Using this particular prompt. Okay, so these assumptions, why these patterns may be occurring. Okay, so hang on tight. I have 3 more prompts for you until the very end. So there's actually 10 prompts with this whole framework that you can use. We have 3 for data readiness, 2 for insights extraction. We also have 2 for assumption mapping, and your action planning, we have 3. Okay, so the 3 prompts begin like this. Now that you have your insights fleshed out, you already know what are the patterns and the trends from your data set. The next thing that you're going to do is to specify the goal of your data usage in order to help your AI tool prioritize what's really important. You're not going to be presenting all of the 10 insights that it has gathered for you. Which of these insights is really important for your stakeholder? So now we're doing a little bit of tailoring and customizing depending on our audience needs. So in this particular prompt, you're going to ask the tool, Gemini, my goal is to understand or define which blah, blah, blah. So you can define it with a clear action. On my end here, I've used this particular prompt, very exact. My goal is to understand which segments should our team invest our efforts in for 2026. So given this goal, which aspects of data should we focus on? And it has results that were provided to me, talking about retention and stability, talking about some danger zones. And in fact, some of the results will show me about how can we ensure that we can retain people within this company and so forth. So this will help you to narrow down your insights to what really matters to your audience based on the business goals and objectives. So this is having a bit more of clarity and alignment. After doing this particular step, the next thing for you is to propose your recommended solution and the next steps based on the key insights that you want to focus on. So this is the particular prompt that you're going to use. Let me just paste it in the chat. Based on these key insights we should focus on, can you propose practical actions that should be taken? Can you tailor this for my audience? In fact, you can also customize your results in a particular format. Do you want it in bullet form? Do you want it in a table format? Do you want it in a 1000 word report? Do you want to create a slide by slide outline? You can ask Gemini to do that for you. So you can say that based on these key insights to focus on, you can tailor the proposal based on this. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here. Any questions so far before I flash out the last prompt? Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. You can put it in the chat. So I know that if you need help or any support up to this point, just let me know. Otherwise, okay, don't be shy. You can also reach out to me and private message me, and I'll try to respond to you later on towards the end of this session. Okay, so again, I'm gonna do a pause here so that some of you have enough time to follow through the steps. We are now already on step 9. This is the second to the last prompt. This is the second to the last prompt, okay? And this particular prompt will help you to have very clear takeaways of the so what of your presentation. What's the action that you want them to take up? I'm going to move on to the last prompt. And the last prompt here is preempting objections and handling the questions. So our big bad villain in any type of presentation is not the person, but rather the questions that we get in our presentation. Sometimes we get questions and we get choked up or like we get scared, we panic a little bit on this particular question because we get stumped. We're not sure how to answer or find the answers for it. So you need to do a little bit of planning ahead. And that planning ahead is through this particular prompt. What are the key questions this particular stakeholder reading my analysis might ask me? And how should we address these questions? Okay, so let me just type that in the chat. So in your chat right now, if you can take a look, you have 10 prompts. Okay, you have 10 prompts. And I have actually did a little bit of milestone there. So step 6, you can clearly see that that is the 6th prompt leading up to the last prompt. This is the last prompt for you. So if you're following the demonstration, this is the last prompt for you to use. And what this prompt does is that it helps you feel or boost your confidence, right? Feel more confident about being prepared with any type of presentations because you're able to preempt objections and manage questions, even tough questions, Q&A that might possibly come out with your presentation. And you can even weave the responses in your storytelling. So when you're presenting it, different parts of your presentation, you can weave in the answers slowly and they wouldn't be able to. I'm pretty sure it's foolproof. You will be able to answer their questions. And there's many more things that AI or Gemini can do for you to speed up the data presentation process. In fact, if you reach this particular step with the last prompt, right? You have these answers and you manage to get the key insights that you want to present and the actions, etc. You can ask Gemini to create a slide-by-slide outline with your insights and clear call to action, which you can paste over to another AI tool. So you can copy paste over your slide by slide outline to another AI tool to generate the slides in less than a minute. So this can be done in apps such as Doki.ai. The one that is on the screen right now was done up by Doki.ai. I really liked it because out of the insights that I've gathered from Gemini, it took four insights and two main actionable points to tell my stakeholders what's the most important thing they need to note. And you can even be very specific how long is this presentation going to be. So how many slides, it will create how many slides depending on how long is your presentation going to be. You can also consider other tools like Gamma app, .app. So last week we did have a master class for those learners who wanted to learn how to create visually effective presentations in less than the time, and we use Gamma. And a lot of them actually ended the workshop saying that it's very beneficial for their day-to-day work. You know, it saves time. You no longer need to do your data presentations in 2 to 3 days. And it took only a couple of minutes and another probably 5 or 10 minutes to just retweak some sections of their slides. So again, today's sessions, the focus was on DIAA framework. It is all about how we approach data and gather insights that we can present to our stakeholder. Now, let's do a quick quiz so I know that you are able to remember the prompts that we have used for different segments in the framework. So just type in the chat for me your multiple choice selection. Is it A, B, C, or D? I'll be flashing a few of these prompts on the screen and you just need to identify the right answer. Okay, so let's begin with this first question. Which prompt aids you to prepare data before analysis? So which prompt aids you to prepare data before analysis? Is it A, generate interesting business questions from the data set? B, checking your columns and data format? C, identifying stakeholder assumptions and biases? Or D, recommending actions based on insights? Okay. The clear winner is a lot of you did say B. Fantastic. So now I know everybody was awake on Friday morning. Okay. Now the next one is a level up prompt. Okay, let's see. Which prompt uncovers your meaningful insights that are worth presenting? Okay, remember you're gonna knock on your boss's door and you're gonna tell him, these are my meaningful insights for you. So which prompt will help you uncover that? Is it A, B, C, or D? Is it A, identifying data gaps, B, validating assumptions? Is it C, generating insightful questions that the data set can answer, or D, proposing an action for stakeholders? Okay, so Jocelyn C, Kaijin says C, Zeb C, Farid, yeah, okay. So no wrong answers, yeah? It's all correct. Everybody gave a C. So the right answer here is generating insightful questions that the data set can answer. Here is another one for you. Which prompt helps surface and reduce bias in your analysis? So it's all about your assumption mapping, right? Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to read it. A lot of you are very fast readers. Okay, let me see the responses. Yes. So this is a very succinct prompt that I have on screen, but the full prompt, if you recall, is to identify unanswered questions by my stakeholder. What are the underlying assumptions and which data is missing and why or how can we tackle that? So you can have if you recall the full form earlier, it's under assumptions mapping. Okay, it is assumptions under assumption mapping. And here is my last MCQ quiz question for you. Which prompt translates your insights into clear next steps for stakeholders? Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, A, B, C, or D? Fantastic. So everybody says it's a D. Okay, this is not a trick question. Yeah, the answer is D. recommend focused actions tailored to the audience. And again, you can be very clear and very specific about the format that you want. Do you want it to be in a bullet format for a 5 minute presentation? Do you want it to be in a 1,000 word report that you're going to attach to an email? It will help you to customize your analysis in this particular format. Yeah. So that was the last mini quiz question that I have for you. Now it's your turn. Okay. It's your turn. So using the same data set that we used for the demonstration, I want you to upload in the chat your results. If you have been following through the steps earlier, feel free to generate and share your results with us. If you're feeling very shy, you can also DM me privately. You can just send it to me in the Zoom chat, a link to your results, your Gemini results. I'm very curious about what Gemini has flashed out for you for your particular data set. Because for me, I've been running this data set a few times, and Gemini already knows what are the things that I'm expecting for in my results. Well, on your end, it could be the first time that Gemini is looking into your data set. So again, if you have been following my steps earlier, you can share your generated results with me. And if you wish, you can also, right, follow again the demonstration, the step by steps that I've done, and just pick one key concern that you want to highlight to the management team and one action step that you want the management team to adopt. Okay, so if you've been following my demonstration, you likely have a list of results by now. You can just pick one key concern that you will want to highlight and one action step that you want them to adopt. Okay, so just let me know and share your Gemini results in the chat. Okay, thank you. Okay, for those of you who don't know how to share, let me just share my screen. There is this small button icon on your top right hand corner of your Gemini thread. So it is this looks like a less than with three circles on it. Just click on that and it will load this particular window. And that is your shareable link. That is how you share the whole thread to someone else. Okay, so if you're using a personal Gmail account to create this Gemini, you would be able to access this particular share button to share with us. Okay, just put it in the chat. I've seen a few of you already sent to me directly. I'll save your files. Okay, and the rest of you, just feel free to put it in the chat. So once you're done, just share it in the thread, your thread with us, and put it in the chat so we can save it later. Okay, I'll give you a minute to just finish up your demonstration. If you have missed it, this is the time for you to do your practical, hands-on, step by step. You have the whole list of prompts, and I'm just gonna type it. For those of you who missed it, this was the 10. Okay, let me chat for you. You have a total of 10 prompts for this dia framework. And then okay, so there you go. I have already listed down all the prompts. Okay, give you a couple of minutes if you have not done so. I'm gonna save the links. For those of you who have shared, I am saving the links, so just give me a minute to do that. Meanwhile, for the rest of you, you can just continue to generate again the prompts. You can redo the demonstration if you want to try out again. Hands-on, practical. Okay, so from the Gemini results that were shared with me, I'm so happy to see that we have a variety of responses. So one of you actually chose a different role, so it's very interesting about the data that was flashed out. The other one that I noticed was how Gemini was able to pick up even the data set, like different sections of the data set. So for me, it was like the employee details and the employee years. But here, someone even noted the note section was also analyzed by Gemini. Interestingly, even the note section, that is a very small section of your data set, was also analyzed by Gemini. So thank you all for those who have shared with me. I have enjoyed looking through your Gemini thread results. So again, AI helps us move faster through each phase or each stage of how we prepare for any type of presentation or meetings. But the thinking still follows a structure. So how you analyze your data, it really begins by, getting the data ready, extracting the meaningful insights from there, and then you surface any biases or assumptions behind them, and finally translating everything into clear actions. But let me ask you, do you think that our work is done here? Do you think our work is done at this point? So just tell me, okay? Just type in the chat if you think our work is done at this point. I want you to put yes, okay, yes, a very strong yes. I think our work is done here. And for those of you who think it's a no, you just type in the chat, nah, no, okay? So if you think our work is done at this point, is it a yes or a no? What do you think? Okay, so I want you to type it in the chat and see what do we have in mind. I promise you this is my last question for today. Okay. No. Okay. Jocelyn says no. Dorothy, no. Okay. So some of you might think I'm done really at this point, Christine, because I have analyzed the data. I can just go to my boss's office and then present it directly. But the correct answer here is actually no. It is just one fourth of our work. It's just 25% of our work. Our work is actually not yet done when it comes to data presentation. In fact, what I went through is just a quarter of what we tend to do in data presentations. Okay, there is a whole four-part framework that you can do with data storytelling and visualization. Okay, this is just the second part of it, and it was a very short sliver of how we turn data into actionable insights. So the DIAA framework sits right here out of a four-part framework. And in our full-day workshops on data storytelling, and or data visualization, we guide learners how to tailor your presentations first before you actually get your insights. And then we get our insights, and then we structure that particular content into a very logical flow, compelling flow. And once that's done, we also teach learners how to visualize your data. So some of you don't even know which chart to use, or do I even need a chart to help me narrate this particular insights? And what is the best way to narrate your insights? Right? You don't just go knocking on your boss's door and, hey, I have something for me to share with you. There are different ways how you can make it engaging. There are engaging storytelling techniques that you can use. Okay, so this is a four-part framework that we go through in our full day workshop. And I just want to note that presenting numbers doesn't have to be very complex. And throughout our full day workshops in data storytelling or visualization, we guide our learners to do it step by step so that you can make accurate business decisions. You can take charge of all the business opportunities that it can impact, and also get your buy-in from stakeholders in order to maybe that's a pitch you want to get a yes, or it's a partner that you're trying to get on board, or it's an update or a review in your project that you want to tell people. Do you want them to stop doing something, start doing something, or continue doing something based on your information? What's the action that you want them to take up? Okay, so our workshop is highly hands-on, as you can see from our webinar today. We work through real case studies, just like the one I'm sharing with you on screen. We take it from the raw data all the way to the final polished presentation. So this is an example of an initial design that was taken out from a public source, and we try to convert this data-heavy slide into something that is very visual, very clearly narrated for you. We frame the right story. And so far, this program has really received a fair bit of love from our clients, which I'm very happy to share with you. And I know, again, this course is not about me. This course is all about you, how you find it important and applicable to your day to day or your work life. So if you're serious about becoming a great, stronger data storyteller, I'd encourage you to definitely learn more. And I'll leave my colleagues' details on the next slide so you can reach out to Justin if you have any questions or if you're interested to sign up for any of our tailored workshop. This is typically for our corporate clients, okay? So I'm just gonna leave it here. If you have any questions for Justine, feel free to reach out. She's more than happy to give you a free consultation for our corporate workshops. Now, for those of you who are saying, Christine, I am not signing up with my team, but I want to go for some of your public run courses. Do you have that? So the answer today is yes, we do have public run courses as well. So stay tuned, okay? We have a few that is coming up for Q2 and Q3 of this year. We do have a 2-day storytelling and visualization. It is Skills Future approved course, so therefore you can use your Skills Future credit if you have not used any of these credits. If this is still part of your New Year's resolution to upskill, again, you can use these credits. So stay tuned for that. We will be sharing more information in the second to third quarter of the year. If you're interested for that public run course, you can leave it in a comment in the testimonial or the feedback form that I have for you on the screen. Okay, so you can just note there, Christine, I want to sit in your 2-day storytelling public run course. Can I do that? Yeah. Okay, and my team will reach out to you. So this is the QR code for the feedback and testimonial. If you do leave us any feedback or testimonial, you'll receive the data cheat sheet at the very end for you to download. So this is one of the free resources that I have for you, a freebie that I have for you on hand. So please try to tell us. Yeah, I would love to hear, how do you think this webinar worked out? Okay, so if you already have attended the webinars from last October, you would know that this is the last part of the PPAI webinar series that we have. So the first one we did on story structuring, like the content structuring. The second one we actually worked on how to create very visual slides based on our proprietary framework. And this is the last one that we have on AI powered presentations involving data and Gemini. Okay, so this was the last out of the 4-part webinar series. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to put it into the survey form that we have here. So you can just scan the QR code. If you're unable to scan the QR code, I also have the link in the chat. Okay. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat. Okay, please feel free to put it in the chat. I will try to address it, and also the rest of my team members here can help to address. So again, my name is Christine, and feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. This is my contact if you need to reach out to me, if you want to find out more tips, or if you want to stay tuned to our upcoming webinars or public run courses. I typically share that as well. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. If you have any other questions, please put it in the chat so we can address it. Do I have any questions so far? Let me just check. Ooh, this is a very smart crowd. Some of you are shy. Again, you can DM or PM me instead if you're feeling shy. Okay. Now, thank you for tuning in to today's webinar session. I really had a great time, on a Friday morning. And for those of you again celebrating the upcoming Chinese New Year, Gong Xi Fa Chai. I hope you have a very good long break and feel energized with the Year of the Horse coming in. And for those of you who are just enjoying the weekend, have a good weekend. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you for all of your messages in the chat as well. I really appreciate your participation. And I hope I will see a lot of you in the next webinar or upcoming trainings as well. Okay, if you have any questions, put it in the chat. Otherwise, thank you. Have a good weekend. Take care. I hope I'll see you again in the next webinar. Okay, I'm just gonna flash this here for those of you who might have missed it. Okay, so feel free to log off if you need to go. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch. Thanks, Jocelyn. Thanks, Seb. Thanks, Linus. Thanks, Kaijun, Pauline. Okay, I have a question here and I'm going to respond. Okay, so for ZH, which is my recommendation for AI presentation tool and why? So Gamma versus Doki.ai. Okay, so it's not Donkey, it's Doki. Okay, so I realized Doki is actually quite a crowd favorite now for presenters because it is in a presentation format. It will immediately be in that presentation format, like a PPT format. For Gamma, it actually creates cards. So it's not just for presenters, it could be for content creators, for any type of content. It could be even for someone who wants to create a website. Even you can create websites out of your Gamma. So it has very different, I would say, if you want flexibility, you can go for Gamma. If you really know the format is just a presentation, go with Doki. And for Doki, you still need to have a very clear outline on what you want to be there for your content. For Gamma, I noticed that while you feed it with your outline, it will flash out some results. You may need to tweak a bit more. Okay, you can customize further. This is what I noticed between the two. They have a free usage as well. If I'm not mistaken, Doki has 300 credits. I think you can do 30 slides with that, whereas Gamma has a 40 um like the credit is you can create about 40 slides, okay, or 10 cards. Okay, on your first try is 10 cards, but if on monthly subscription, I think you can go up to 20 and then it rolls over to the next month. Is there a particular reason why you chose to use Gemini instead of Claude or ChatGPT for today's session? Good question. So last week we did a master class and we actually used ChatGPT to help us to outline things. Why Gemini? One thing I've noticed is that a lot of our clients nowadays are using inbuilt Gemini in their system because they are already using a Google ecosystem. So if you're using a Google ecosystem, Gemini is fantastic. You can use that. If you're on Actually, if you're on Microsoft ecosystem, then I will ask you to use Copilot instead. So there's an inbuilt infrastructure and database for you. ChatGPT definitely can help you with your research and brainstorming, but you need to do a lot of factual checking as well. You need to do a lot of factual checking. I've tried the same case study data set for today. I did run it on ChatGPT. It also works on ChatGPT fine as well. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for everybody who's still here. Okay, do we have any more questions? Zeb, Ram, Kaijun. Okay. Any questions, just let me know. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for joining as well. Okay. So this is if there are no other questions, feel free to leave the session. We will be closing this session soon. Yeah. Thank you. Um,